The scariest thing about the darkness of a bar isn't the shadows that dance to the music. It's the shadows that remain when the music stops and the lights go out. Last call at the Night Owl. Claire and Maggie worked as bartenders at the Night Owl, a gritty but popular dive bar downtown. Their shifts usually ended around 3 a.m. Clean the counter, wash the glasses, and kick out the last of the drunken patrons. That night, everything was going as usual until Dan, their night security guard, disappeared. He had simply stepped out to the back alley for a smoke and never came back. Maggie tried calling him, but Dan's phone was turned off. Whatever, Claire shrugged. He probably ran off to see his girlfriend again. He can lock the deadbolt himself if he comes back. They finished cleaning. The bar was eerily quiet. The silence felt heavy after the hours of thumping music and laughter. Only the monotonous hum of the old refrigerators broke the peace. "I'm gonna put the cash in the safe," Maggie said, heading toward the back office. "You go ahead and kill the lights in the main lounge." Claire nodded. She walked over to the main light panel. She didn't like the way the shadows were thickening in the corners. Suddenly, she heard a faint, distinct sound. Tink. It came from behind the bar. Claire listened closely. It was the sound of someone tapping a teaspoon against an empty glass. "Maggie, what are you doing back there?" Claire shouted. Silence. Then another tink. Louder this time, as if the strike was harder. Claire cautiously walked around the bar. No one was there. All the glasses were sitting on the drying rack. She felt goosebumps crawl down her spine. "It's just nerves," she thought. At that moment, Maggie's voice came from right behind her. "Are you blind? Look at what you did." Claire spun around. Maggie was standing in the middle of the room, hands on her hips. On the floor, right at Claire's feet, lay a shattered bottle of expensive whiskey. Shards of glass glistened in the dim light. I didn't touch it," Claire stammered. "That wasn't me." "Of course it wasn't. You're always messing something up. Just clean it up." Feeling terribly uneasy, Claire knelt down to gather the shards. She was certain that bottle hadn't been there a second ago. Suddenly, a scream erupted from the back office. It was Maggie. The scream was so shrill, so pure with desperation that Claire's ears rang. "Claire! Claire, what is this?" Forgetting the glass, Claire sprinted toward the office. The door was wide open, the safe was ajar, and Maggie was on the floor, pressed against the wall, deathly pale. Her eyes were wide, staring at something standing directly behind Claire. "Don't turn around," Maggie whispered, her voice trembling with terror. It's right there." Claire didn't listen. Slowly, millimeter by millimeter, she turned her head. Dan was standing behind her, but it wasn't exactly Dan. His skin was pale and waxy, his eyes were rolled back, and thick black sludge was oozing from his mouth. He didn't move. He just stood there with his head twisted at an unnatural angle. Then Dan raised his hand. He pressed a finger to his lips in a shushing gesture. At that moment, another figure stepped out from behind him. It looked exactly like Maggie. It wore a wide, inhuman grin that distorted its face. This creature, looking at the real Maggie, slowly put a finger to its lipless mouth and whispered in a voice like the rustle of dry leaves, "Shh, we don't want anyone to hear us." It moved slowly toward the real Maggie, who was paralyzed by fear. Suddenly, the real Maggie found the strength to scream, "Claire, run! It poured the whiskey just to make you turn your back." The Maggie creature standing behind Claire froze. Its head snapped toward Claire at a sickening angle. It raised its hand, pointing at the real Maggie, and spoke in a voice that was a horrific blend of Dan and Maggie's voices. "Remember, Claire? She always loved to joke." Then, right before Claire's eyes, the Maggie creature vanished into the shadows, but the real Maggie's scream was cut short. Claire watched as her friend froze, and then her body began to slowly dissolve into the air like smoke. Claire was left alone in the empty bar with Dan standing behind her. He slowly raised his other hand, and in his fingers, between his thumb and forefinger, an empty glass and a small spoon slowly materialized.